All rise for the jury.
All right, guys. Welcome back to part 2 of our update episode. You know, that we swore would be short and sweet on that first episode. It was not. This will also not be short and sweet either. It's going to be the same length.
To be fair, we only swore it to ourselves and our producer, and we lied.
We lied a lot. It's fine. It's the only time we'll do it to you. Promise. I cross my fingers. All right. So, are you ready to dive back into this?
I am. But first and foremost, welcome back to another episode of Justice 4. We are your hosts.
I forgot. I'm Jackie.
And I'm Sam. Let's dive into it.
Let's dive back in.
Do you remember the horrible news out of Humboldt, Tennessee back in July of 2024? That a now 13-year-old girl was being held on first-degree murder charges? The victim was an 8-year-old girl named Demeria Hollingsworth, who is visiting her grandma's home about 90 miles northwest of Memphis. Along with Demeria was her 13-year-old cousin, whose identity was being protected due to her age. According to the reports, the two girls got into an argument over an iPhone, a common source of disputes among children today, unfortunately. Though the exact details of the disagreement remain completely unclear even now. That night, while Demeria was sleeping on the top bunk, her cousin reportedly smothered her with a blanket. Disturbingly, after Demeria soiled herself during the attack, her cousin cleaned her up, changed her clothes, repositioned her body, covered her with a blanket, and then went to bed as if nothing happened.
It's still, like, I know it, I've heard it, we've talked about it, but it's still so shocking every time you hear that.
She was 12.
I know, it's just still so shocking every time you hear it.
Yeah. This chilling sequence was captured by a camera in the bedroom, providing the prosecution with clear evidence of the crime. The video footage itself has not been released and will likely remain private due to the sensitive nature of this case. Demeria's family has chosen to publicly share her name, wanting their beloved daughter to be remembered and honored. Well, I'm sorry if I say this wrong. I don't think I'm going to. LaQuivana Parson, who is 13, your identity is now out as well, has been charged with first-degree murder and tampering with evidence.
Hell yeah.
District Attorney for the 28th District of Tennessee, his name is Frederick Agee, I believe it is, says the teenager has been transferred to adult court and indicted by a grand jury for murder and tampering with evidence.
Oh, we gotta have some hella premeditation they found in that video.
Quote, if she were to be kept as a juvenile, she would have been released as early as age 18. And for our office, prioritizing and protecting the community, that's just simply not enough time. End quote.
Holy shit.
Yeah. Demeria's mother and sister are completely heartbroken. They actually wear pins for her to this day. Trial has yet to happen, but since they will be trying her as an adult, she could be sentenced to life in prison. And in Tennessee, that's at least 51 years before being eligible for parole. 13 years old. Her life over.
I need to see all the evidence. They have to have something that... There is something that made this... There's something more than her cleaning her up and redressing her. I'm wondering if there's something in that argument. I'm wondering if she threatened it that... there has to be something else on those cameras because... She was 12 at the time. Almost 13, I know. But that's still a large jump.
So the other thing I'm thinking is maybe she's had mental health evaluations since. And they're like, oh shit, this is not safe.
But I don't think it's going to go that way because they would have tried to... if they were doing the mental health route, it would have been much better to keep her as a juvenile.
That's fair.
Because they could have done more with it.
It could just be like a no remorse type thing. Like, I'm not claiming schizophrenia. I'm not claiming anything like that.
I know. But like,
there's something up there. Like, I guarantee it's probably a no remorse. Especially the fact that she cleaned her up, repositioned her, and made it
I feel like there's got to be something more than that. Because it took them, we knew that info in the beginning. It took more investigation and more stuff
to transfer her to
do that. I wonder if it has something to do with the argument.
I don't know.
I wonder if the argument got caught on camera.
Maybe. Probably. I don't know. Regardless, this is wild.
One that we'll definitely be updating on.
There is also a GoFundMe page for Demeria's family, but it doesn't look like anyone there has donated for a few months. They were trying to use it for a headstone and funeral and everything like that. So don't feel obligated, because it surpassed it by...
Oh, did it?
They were asking for 10. They got almost 19,000.
Oh, awesome. Awesome.
So they're in good hands, but it's up to you, babes. Yeah. Also, this is just heartbreaking. Like, 8 years... Oh, my God. I can't.
Yeah. It's
crazy.
horrible.
But we will... I have a notification thing set for if her name comes up.
Perfect. Mm-hmm. In a September episode, we covered the incredible survivor story of Peyton Leutner, who was 12 years old when her two best friends, Morgan Geyser and Anissa Ware, lured her into the woods and stabbed her 19 times before telling her they were going to get her help. Instead of getting Peyton help, Morgan and Anissa started walking to the Nicollet National Park and become Slender Man's servants. Mm-hmm. It has since been dubbed the Slender Man stabbings. Mm-hmm. Morgan and Anissa were both sentenced to Winnebago Mental Health Institution. Anissa was released and sent home on GPS ankle monitor and cannot have contact with Peyton or her family until after 2038.
She shouldn't ever. Don't.
Morgan, on the other hand, was denied release in April 2024. Since the end of that episode, we have done a short update video on TikTok about the change in status of Morgan and her pending release from the Winnebago Mental Health Institution. Mm-hmm. And we plan to do more. But more and more just kept happening with her release plan. Also, little side note, the TikTok video that we made, a clip of it was featured on ABC Nightline episode Surviving Slender Man on Hulu. So that was like super cool for us. Go check it out. Yeah. Also, it's a really good episode. It doesn't go deep. It just kind of recaps and put us into like where we're going next. Mm-hmm. But back to it. In January of 2025, Judge Boren decided to grant her release, even though he has denied it 3 other times. This is the same judge who sentenced them. It's the same judge who's had it ever since. Stating that she had maximized her treatment options at the facility and is no longer a safety risk. He ordered the State Department of Health Services to set up a plan to house her in a group home and supervise her for this consideration at a hearing within 60 days. Mm-hmm. This came as a complete shock because what changed between April and now?
Yeah.
Like, what happened in less than a year for this to happen?
Yeah.
Well, a whole lot happened, let me tell you.
A lot happened.
We found out that when the state filed a motion to stop Morgan's release, stating she was still at risk, it was because she had been in contact with a man who was selling her artwork and was getting off on her crime and wanted to have a sexual relationship with her. And he was basically only talking to her because of what she did. Morgan was honest with her therapist about this and others when she figured it all out. She cut the physical visits with this guy. But it took her a year longer to cut all the communication with him.
Ugh, it's so
she
gross.
was also still creating a lot of horror artwork that was really concerning. Mm-hmm. And the institution said that they knew about all of these things. They just didn't know the depth of it until they were preparing for the hearing, which is crazy. But with all of this, the judge still decided to move forward with her release to a group home, stating that it was going to be more strict than being in the mental institution because she was going to be a lot more locked down. With a lot more rules, a lot more all that, which is fine. Another thing is that she was reading a book. Books, I mean, she's allowed to have it in there, obviously. But her therapist didn't know the extent of the content until before the hearing, and it was about
was it the comic book?
No, it was one like about harvesting organs and like selling them on the black market and like all that stuff. So she's still very dark and twisty in all of her things, which is fine. Be dark and twisty unless you literally were dark and twisty and attempted to murder your best friend.
literally in jail.
Yeah.
I guess not jail. Close enough.
Yeah, just a lot of back and forth. But the timing of her talking to this guy and their visits and the books and the drawings and all that actually lines up with her filing for release and then withdrawing it. Mm-hmm. So it explained all of that timeline we had in our episode. So our latest hearing was on April 28th, when the final plan for her release was presented. And this was for the group home and how she would be supervised. And when I tell you, actually, they found out right before they went into court, like, everybody but the people who made the plan, and then the rest of the court found out inside. The group home that they are putting Morgan in is 8 miles. 8 miles away from where Peyton is currently living and attending grad school. Turns out, nobody even consulted Peyton or her family about any of this. They didn't bother to look up where Peyton's going to school, where Peyton's living, where her life is. Didn't even look at it. So the judge told them to come back with a new plan and that this was unacceptable. That hearing is scheduled for sometime in early June. Don't have an exact date, but it should be somewhere around this episode's release date. And so we will have an update, like a breaking news update on there for you. Peyton's mom, she has not spoken out since they got sentenced. And, like, even when, like, Morgan was getting released, like, they have denied statements. Peyton's mom came out and she said, "This is not okay. My daughter deserves the right to go to the grocery store, to go to the movies, to go out with her friends, to go eat dinner, to go grab coffee, to drive around without the fear of having to see Morgan." Mm-hmm. And I agree. So I very much hope that we do something else. I can't believe that they didn't check on this.
Yeah.
It just blows my mind.
This one hurts me. But I'm happy at the same time. Bionca Ellis, a 32-year-old woman from Cleveland, Ohio, was arrested on June 3rd of 2024 for the fatal stabbing of 3-year-old Julian Wood and the wounding of his mother, Margot Wood, outside a Giant Eagle grocery store in North Olmsted. The attack was swift and unprovoked, occurring in the parking lot as the mother and child were returning to their vehicle.
I think about this like once a week easily.
Same.
And not even every week when I'm going grocery shopping, but that video, the mom,
Chilling.
him, it crosses my mind at least once a week since it has happened.
I have not gone back to rewatch the video. I don't need to.
It's in my head. It's literally in my head.
It's when they're walking out and she walks by them and then turns around.
Yep.
Like, ugh.
Every time.
Sorry,
continue.
Bionca allegedly stole 2 knives from a nearby Volunteers of America thrift store before following the victims and launching the assault. Julian succumbed to his injuries, while Margot was treated for non-life-threatening wounds. The incident has been characterized as a random act of violence with no prior connection between Bionca and the victims. Surveillance footage captured her stalking the pair through the store before the attack, raising concerns about her mental state. Also, if you don't remember, her videos during her hearings.
Oh my gosh, she's
where she was like
crazy.
Doing the Zoolander face in the camera and telling the judge like see instead of saying yes.
Yeah. She's obnoxious and just a deplorable human being. Mm-hmm.
Initially, she was deemed incompetent to stand trial due to the mental health issues and was ordered to undergo inpatient treatment at North Coast Behavioral Health. However, after several months of treatment, she was later ruled competent to stand trial. Her trial is scheduled to begin on July 14th of 2025. Period.
Right on.
She faces multiple charges, including 1 count of aggravated murder, 2 counts of murder, 2 counts of attempted murder, 2 counts of felonious assault, 1 count of endangering children, 1 count of tampering with evidence, and 1 count of misdemeanor theft. That's a lot.
It is.
That's a lot. The case has deeply affected the North Olmsted community, leading to the creation of a dinosaur mural in Julian's honor on the side of the grocery store, serving as a tribute in his memory.
Oh, that's so sweet.
It's very sweet. I read an article, though, that people are coming by just to, like, not in a good way.
Like defacing it, or?
No, they're not defacing it at all, but, like, I mean, I guess it's not in a horrible way, but, like, many people are coming from out of nowhere just to be in the area of the murder, and...
Oh, got you, because of where the location is.
Yeah.
That's weird.
So, and it's creating, like, a lot of people are on edge because of it.
I can see that.
I understand being a true crime buff. Do it from the comfort of your home, please.
Yeah, go look at a picture of it. Unless, like, you live in the area, then go grocery shopping. I don't know.
Yeah, grocery shop.
Yeah.
But that's currently where we stand. We're having
court. I'm so glad she didn't get, like, a mental health, you know, like a
Robert Deere situation.
Yeah, like a mental health out on this, because I really thought that we were going to go in that direction, and I'm glad that we didn't. I think her priors help.
Yeah, even because I think we did a couple of WTFs about her. Maybe
I think she's in 2 of them.
I know one of them, though, like, because we were talking about her hearing videos and whatnot.
Yeah.
I straight up said, like, if she's trying to go for mental
That's
insanity,
what we thought she was going to do.
She was going to get it.
Yeah.
And thankfully, they're on this shit. So that's where we stand. We'll keep you guys updated.
All right. This next update is a case that I personally have been invested in since he went missing. And we have covered the disappearance of Tyler Goodrich in a few episodes and have been in contact with a close friend of his as well. Mm-hmm. In November 2023, Tyler was reported missing by his husband, Marshall. Tyler was last spotted on camera running from their house the evening before he was reported missing. After 16 months of searching for Tyler, using drones, foot searches, scent tracking dogs, you name it, they did it. On the morning of March 8th, a man was walking his dog in a wooded area. This area had paths that people would walk and ride four-wheelers in. His dog alerted him to something in a tree. When he inspected closer, he was shocked to see that it was human remains. Police immediately had an idea of who this person could be. The clothing and hair, from what they could see, matched the description of Tyler Goodrich from the night he went missing. Tyler was found next to a tree about 10 to 15 yards away from the road and 967 yards from his house, in an area that was previously searched on foot multiple times, including by his dad, Lonnie. Which leads us to, how was he missed?
That was, I'm pretty sure, one of my first questions was, like, how the hell did no one find him?
Well, to answer that question, I have to tell you his cause of death. Tyler's cause of death was determined to be asphyxia due to hanging. His death was ruled a suicide. Police offered the initial explanation that Tyler was missed because people were looking down and not up, which I have interpreted as when this area was searched, it was likely that he was still hanging in the tree. And because they found the rope still tied to a branch and he was found up against the tree, implying he remained being hidden, blended in with the branches. Tyler's family and everyone else had a hard time accepting this as the answer. They did for a little bit, because Tyler was making plans. He didn't seem depressed, and there were no signs of this.
I still have a hard time accepting this answer.
It is being more accepted now, but a lot of people online are pointing out things that don't seem to add up. Tyler was found in an evergreen. He was also over 6 feet tall, and they found 2 feet of rope hanging. The branches had to be removed to actually get to him and to remove his body. There's a lot of confusion on how he pulled this off in this space at night in the dark. Then add in the fact that a random person went out with a metal detector and found Tyler's wallet, phone, keys, and watch about 229 feet west of his body. Not the police, a random resident of the area who was looking for him. And I'm not talking weeks later. I'm talking like a couple days after they found his body. Police came out and said, well, animals moved his stuff around.
You're fucking lying.
Mm-hmm. Maybe the community and internet sleuths are reading too much into it. Maybe we consume too much true crime. But I personally, and I know you do as well, feel like something is still off. And so do a lot of people online.
Yeah, the other thing that keeps popping into my head that I just can't let go of, his stint ended in the middle of a road.
And that road is in between the road that runs next to where he was found. Mm-hmm. And, like, so the road that he was, like, 10 to 15 feet from. And then there's that patch here. Mm-hmm. And then the road the dogs went down is over here. They literally have that track around it.
But there's no scent from there.
And also, so this is a place that people walk through. There's walking past people, right? They're four-wheelers. They do all this in here.
Yeah.
And it took this long. Lonnie said he even searched that area.
I don't know.
It's just...
I don't know. Like, intuition tells me it's off. But
so,
what can you do?
It's definitely not the update we wanted for Tyler and his family.
Yeah.
We always hope to find missing people alive. However, now they have some closure with him being found and being able to lay him to rest properly, and they did. And the community is still coming together. There are still groups out there looking. I do believe the private investigator that had been working with them from the beginning had come out at one point and said that him and the family were not happy with the investigation results and that they were going to keep looking into it. That was before another statement was kind of put up about them accepting this. So I don't know if there'll be any other updates in this episode at all or in this case, but we did just want to update you on that. Definitely not the update we thought was coming.
Yeah, I remember when the body was found and we were just texting. It was crazy.
Oh, it was insane. And then as every update came out.
The Return to Nature funeral home based in Penrose, Colorado, became the center of a major scandal in October of 2023 when authorities discovered nearly 190 decomposing bodies improperly stored at the facility.
That's still shocking no matter how many times we say it or hear it. We've been talking about it for years. It's still just crazy.
Yeah. The funeral home was owned by John and Carrie Halford. Halford. I
think I've heard it, and I say it both ways.
I've said it both. Mm-hmm. I've heard it both ways, I think.
Do your thing with it.
They had advertised an eco-friendly burial services, but failed to carry out proper cremations and burials, often providing families with fake ashes made of dry concrete.
Which is horrible.
Horrible. Investigations revealed that the Halfords misused funds from clients and fraudulently obtained nearly $900,000 in COVID-19 relief funds, spending the money on personal expenses such as vehicles, vacations, and luxury items, including plastic surgery. Yeah.
And hella ass expensive dinners in Vegas. I remember that.
There was like a bunch of them.
There was.
Yeah. In October of 2024, so about a year later, both John and Carrie pled guilty to federal charges of conspiracy to commit wire fraud. The following month, they also pleaded guilty in state court to multiple counts of abuse of a corpse.
Yeah.
They've pled. Still nothing is going on, though. In August of 2024, a judge ordered the Halfords to pay $950 million in damages to the victims' families, marking one of the largest judgments in Colorado history. Which is crazy.
So crazy.
While the couple's ability to pay the full amount is doubtful, the judgment serves as a symbolic gesture acknowledging the harm caused. The case prompted legislative reforms in Colorado, including stricter licensing requirements for funeral home operators to prevent similar incidents in the future, which unfortunately a few have come out since.
But also, Colorado has the worst laws for funeral homes and everything else. If you want to see a funeral home scandal, 9 times out of 10, Colorado will be attached to it.
100%.
This is not Colorado's first rodeo with this.
Since we've put out some information. We did a pretty deep dive on, on this. Since those, though, people have been reaching out to us and have been involved, their families, their loved ones, it's crazy.
It is.
I know we say it was 190 bodies, but that doesn't sound like a lot, but it's a lot.
Yeah, and not only that, they're trying to figure out where some of these people are because they buried people in different spots with different bodies for the ones that they did actually bury.
Yeah.
And we do have, there will be more coming out on this because, yes, they pled guilty, but one of them has agreed to go to trial and the other one doesn't want to. I think John's going to trial and I think Carrie said, I don't want to. So
I heard it was the other way around. There's been so much information.
It keeps bouncing and flipping and flopping. And so that's why you haven't gotten an update because we don't know what to update you with.
We don't know what the hell's going on. So there's deals being implemented. It's up in the air if we're even going to have a trial about this or not. But we wanted to let you know it's still on our radar. They're still pieces of shit. We're still going to cover it.
1,000.
But yeah, that's where we're at for that.
All right. This next update is for you OG listeners from day one, because we are going way back to the second case we ever covered. It was our third episode. Suzanne Morphew. Mm-hmm. And we've held off on this update for a long time, hoping that something more was going to happen.
I feel like we put the smallest update out like months later because something was found.
Yes, we put out a teeny tiny update, but
we were still in the beanbags.
No.
When we put this out.
We were still in the beanbags when we put this out. We were on the beanbags. But unfortunately, just nothing has been happening. And you're not going to be happy with why. Suzanne Morphew went missing on Mother's Day 2020 while out on a bike ride. There is a lot of suspicion that her husband Barry had something to do with it, which was only confirmed when he was arrested for her murder, even though her body had not been found. Because of the mishandling of Suzanne's case by District Attorney Linda Stanley, we will talk more about that in just a minute, the charges against Barry would go on to be dismissed without prejudice, meaning that if new evidence came up, he could be charged again. Mm-hmm. Then Suzanne's body was discovered in September of 2023, just 40 miles away from her home. The discovery of Suzanne's body brought so much renewed hope to Suzanne's case, possibly even new charges. But nothing has happened. Everything remains the exact same as where we left off in our WTF update episode about Suzanne's autopsy. To possibly help explain why nothing has happened in Suzanne's case, one of the things is her daughters and husband aren't necessarily pushing super hard for this to be solved. They've remained silent since she disappeared. They just...
Except for the one interview they did where their hair
they had
and
like
their
two interviews
tans
that they've done ever. Daughters have stayed silent. Barry's maintained his innocence. And this case is a case that needs more push from family to be moved forward.
Oh, don't forget the hand holding. Oh my gosh, you're so cold.
Okay, back to District Attorney Linda Stanley.
Psycho.
She was disbarred after a 2-week hearing that reviewed her handling of Suzanne's case as well as another case involving the death of a 10-month-old. Detectives working on Suzanne's case said that Linda basically did nothing. She wasn't leading the investigation, no one felt like there was any leadership, and the closer and closer it got to trial, more and more investigators removed themselves because of her misconduct. Mm-hmm. Which gives us a lot more understanding to how Barry's charges were dropped. And basically now that Suzanne's case is in a different district, with the finding of her remains being in a different district, the investigation would be starting over from scratch. And I hope that's what's happening. But there's nothing been released about it, about the investigation, where it's at, since we're running none of that.
There's literally nothing out there.
Which leads us to what we think is the only other possibility to the delay in this case moving forward, which is Yvonne Missy Woods. We've mentioned her before. We have. We mentioned her briefly in a WTF episode, I do believe. But there wasn't a lot out about it then. So Missy worked for the Bureau of Investigation, the Colorado Bureau of Investigation, for over 20 years. She currently has 102 charges against her.
Oh, yeah.
Pertaining to her work with DNA and her testimonies at trials about DNA evidence. As of April of 2025, there are 1,022 cases impacted by her. One of those cases has already resulted in a man being released from prison after 20 years for a murder that he did not commit and he had maintained his innocence on. It has not been released if she was a part of Suzanne's investigation. It definitely would help explain that unknown DNA found in the car and at the house
Yeah.
It would also be a reason that no other charges have been brought forward. Between having to basically redo the investigation because of Linda Stanley and having to wait for all of this Missy Woods DNA disaster to unfold, which could take decades with the amount of cases that they have to go back through and retry now, on top of the current cases that are overloading El Paso County's system. And not only El Paso County, these cases are all over Colorado because she's in the CBI.
Could you imagine being the one to find that? I mean, obviously, like, be like, hell yeah, I found this information, but, like, the stress.
I tried to see if she worked on Maggie Long's case.
Yeah.
And I couldn't find it because everything she worked on, they have locked down until they can notify attorneys and clients for the cases she affected.
Fuck. All right.
Because CBI was involved in Maggie Long. CBI was involved in Suzanne Morphew. She worked during these times doing this. So it's just so heartbreaking that justice for Suzanne is tied up in all of this. I encourage you to listen to our episode on her and our follow-up WTF episode about all this. But be nice. We were babies. We were just starting out. Although to this day, I still think Suzanne is one of my best written episodes.
It was so long.
30 pages.
It was so long.
30 pages, guys. First one I ever wrote by myself.
But they were beautiful.
So she's going to find out about this right now. Oh. We plan on doing an episode about Yvonne Missy Woods because that whole situation is just mind-blowing. But please go do your own research. It really is a fascinating case. Suzanne Morphew, like, go do your own research on her. It's such a fascinating case. Honestly, like, we could do an entire series on Suzanne Morphew's case. There's that much detail.
We'll discuss that later.
I said we could. I didn't say we are going to. If anybody gets a series, it's Gannon.
We already had that in discussions,
I know.
Too.
So, once again, I do want to put out that the Morphew tip line is 719-312-7530. Please, 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 anything about this could help.
Mamta Bhatt, a 28-year-old nurse and mother from Manassas Park, Virginia, was reported missing in early August of 2024. Her husband, Naresh Bhatt, reported her disappearance on August 5th, several days after she was last seen. Prior to this, co-workers had raised concerns when she failed to show up to work, prompting a welfare check by police, not her husband. By the way, he's not the one that's like, oh, welfare check on my wife. No, it was her coworkers.
Yeah, her coworkers did all of this. He just admitted to her being missing eventually.
Initially, Naresh actually declined to report her missing, which was delaying the official investigation. As the investigation progressed, authorities uncovered disturbing evidence suggesting foul play. Bloodstains were found in the couple's home, and surveillance footage showed Naresh purchasing cleaning supplies and knives around the time of Mamta's disappearance. Additionally, he was seen disposing of items in a trash compactor in Falls Church, Virginia. In December of 2024, Naresh was indicted on charges of first-degree murder, physically defiling a dead body, and concealing a dead body. Investigators believe Mamta was killed in a violent struggle at their home, although her body has not been found. Despite extensive searches, including landfill sites, her remains are still missing.
Which is just crazy to me because, like, yeah, it took them like a week, but, like, I don't know where he could have. They have so much GPS, they have surveillance, they have all this other stuff. Like, what did he do with her?
Where is she?
Where is she?
Where is she? We did a deeper dive into this timeline and whatnot back on a WTF on August 23rd of last year, so please feel free to go back and listen to that if you want. Naresh is currently being held without bond, and his trial was scheduled to begin on May 28th of 2025. So, we're going to have to do another update depending on how this goes. The case has garnered significant attention, both locally and internationally, as Mamta's family and supporters seek justice for her.
Yeah, it's still just an absolutely crazy case. All right. So, if you remember, back in January 2024, in Grand Junction, Colorado, a head and arms were found in a deep freezer. But it took 10 months for police to identify them as 16-year-old Amanda Overstreet, who had been missing for 20 years.
Oh boy, do I remember this one.
How can you forget? The freezer was located at a house that was previously owned by her own mother and now deceased stepdad. At this time, there have still been no arrests or no additional information from our episode, except for this statement put out by the Mesa County Sheriff's Office on April 2nd. Quote, "It has come to the attention of the Mesa County Sheriff's Office that incorrect information may have been posted on social media by entities not associated with the Sheriff's Office, nor authorized to speak on behalf of the Sheriff's Office pertaining to a suspect or suspects in the case. This statement is to clarify that Dave Eimer, so Bradley Eimer's son, is not a suspect in this case. Mr. Eimer reports he and his immediate family have been the subject of ongoing harassment due to this misinformation. The case is still open and under active investigation. For information regarding this case, please reference previous news releases from the Mesa County Sheriff's Office. No further updates are available at this time." End quote.
That was a lot of words for this much information.
I'm sorry. Who the fuck has been focusing on Bradley's son?
Not me.
Nobody has.
I was really confused. I'm like, who the fuck is that?
You want to know why? I was too, because the son we had was Anthony.
Yeah.
Yeah, nobody. And I can confidently say this with my chest because I'm in the Facebook groups.
With thy chest.
Nobody online is coming for him because I didn't even know you existed. And also, I didn't know you existed. And I've been talking to people I've been talking to the daughter of one of Bradley's best friends.
Yeah.
Didn't even know you existed, buddy. Neither does the Facebook pages. So I want to know why you are inserting yourself into this investigation with the sheriff's department themselves.
Are we sure he's actually doing it, or are we trying?
He's the one who's complaining. He's complaining to the sheriff's office about people contacting him about this.
Are we sure, though? Or is the police like, yo, bro, we fucked up. Let's throw a name in here and try to focus attention on him.
It's because they said that they reported to the police that they had been
saying they've been putting out misinformation. We don't know. But I know what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, like...
But I don't trust the police department either. Who knows what's actually true and what's not?
Oh, yeah. But I want to know who even, like, started that with them. We've only ever been talking about her sons. We never even talked about his sons.
Yeah.
And I haven't heard anybody at that. This is the first time I heard that name.
Yes. Same.
Crazy. I just couldn't believe it. So... Yeah, so very interesting that that's the latest statement. And I got that statement because I reached out to the Mesa County Sheriff's Office with an information request on the investigation. And she responded to me that all of their statements are online. And so it was that plus the other two that we read you in the episode. Three total statements that have been out right now.
You got these too, so I didn't know about that.
4 if you include the initial report of the finding.
Ooh.
So... Now to go back to, we actually had somebody reach out to us from Amanda's life. After our episode. And it's crazy because I called her and we were talking on the phone and she didn't even find out about Amanda's passing until a couple weeks after our episode released. And she was listening to Serialously. Mm-hmm. At the end of her episode, she mentioned a case that she was going to be covering. Didn't even say Amanda's name, but she connected the dots and went and Googled. We were the only episode on it.
Period. And
she listened to it and immediately sent us this and said, hey, I need to talk to you guys about this. And I was like, what's up?
That's crazy shit.
So her stepdad went way back with Bradley. They had been friends for a long time. They were truck drivers. And she actually spent spring break in Grand Junction with Amanda. That's the first time she met her. And before she met Amanda, she met Leanne and Bradley. And she said that it was so off-putting because Leanne the whole time just was talking about how much of a delinquent Amanda was and a troublemaker and how she didn't want to leave her alone with Elsie because she was scared that she was going to smother her or hurt her. which is so weird to, like, be telling a random 15-year-old that you just met all of this stuff. Okay. So the next day, she meets Amanda, and she goes, Amanda was nothing like was described. Like, she was awesome, she was bubbly, she was fun. And I was like, yeah, I mean, it's not like you guys, like, poured your heart out to each other and you don't know, like, all these in-depth details. She goes, actually, that's kind of what happened. Mm-hmm. So Amanda spilled everything to her about how she didn't get along with her mom, about how she was going back to Texas. Amanda knew she was going back to Texas. And all of this, she's tried to be there for her, wanted to help her. They just hung out. They went to the mall. They had sleepovers. They wanted to stay in touch. Her family contacted Leanne and Bradley multiple times for an address, for a phone number, anything so they could keep in contact. And they just said, oh, we don't have that. She's back in Texas. So they told everybody in Colorado that Amanda went back to Texas. And that's why nobody in Colorado knew Amanda was missing.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So it's absolutely insane. But I am glad that Amanda did get to spend a pretty incredible, amazing week with this friend that she made. And they had a great time. And they got to enjoy themselves. And so that makes my heart happy about that whole situation. Yes.
We also talked about a few others that we said we would keep you updated on. But currently, I gotta say it this way. We don't want to touch them with a 10-foot pole.
No.
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
Nope.
There is way too much information on each of them, and there's too much coming out. We can't keep it straight, so we're not going to...
We can't keep up with it either.
Try to give that to you guys. But I'm going to name them and tell you where to go for them specifically. Yes. Karen Reed. She is currently in the middle of getting a new trial. It is an absolute fucking mess. There has already been movies and documentaries made, and the trial's not even over.
Oh, yeah.
I also know Court TV and a few other podcasts have been following closely, but this personally just makes our head spin. So if you really want to do more of a deep dive on Karen Reed, highly suggest going over to Serialously, or it's the same person, Annie Elise, 10 to Life.
She's actually in the courtroom last week. She's in the courtroom again next week, and she's had someone there the whole time. I honestly, this week, I tapped out on the Karen Reed trial until it's over because I can't anymore.
I've been tapped out.
I followed the whole first one. I've tapped out on the second one right now. I'm going to wait for everything at the end. Please go follow all that over there. I don't think we will ever touch that because it's been beaten to death.
Oh my gosh.
And also...
There's so much misinformation out there too.
I want to say one thing about it. Everything is so focused on Karen and whether she's innocent or guilty and all of that. And the bottom line here is that we are trying to find justice for John O'Keefe.
Exactly.
And he has gotten so lost in all of this, so horribly bad, that I very much encourage you guys to go and look up John and who he was as a Boston police officer and his life and the incredible human being that he was. And really try to focus more on the justice for him side and not all the drama and theatrics and what's happening with the Karen Reed side of it. So just remember why we're really here in all of this, and it's John.
Absolutely. The other one we will touch on at some point, this isn't one that we don't want to touch on, was Robert Deere. He was the Planned Parenthood shooter back in 2015. So I got to think about that. And it happened here in Colorado Springs. It's near and dear to our hearts.
Very much.
Nothing has changed. We're very upset about it still, obviously. But he is at least being forced to be medicated.
Yes.
So we're just waiting on that before we get a new trial date. So that's where it stands. That's where it ended, I don't know, a few months ago as well. We're just currently waiting. The next one is Madeline Soto. There's a lot of fuckery going on with that one. Jen Soto, her mom, still a piece of shit. And actually probably more so now.
More so when we touched on it. Her interviews have been released.
Yep.
Go watch them.
Please go watch them.
And where you can go watch those is Grizzly True Crime. Grizilla is phenomenal. She has been the Madeline Soto coverage from the beginning. Court TV actually brings her on when there's new stuff and uses her as an expert because she is the one who is getting all the police interview footage. She's getting all the body cam footage. She's getting all the documents. She's getting it before Court TV does. I don't know what her in or where it's at, but her coverage is phenomenal.
I agree.
And she uses timestamps so you can go through her videos and just listen to the parts you want to.
Absolutely.
But she's our source.
Yeah.
She's everybody's source for everything Madeline Soto.
Absolutely.
So if you want to rage over a piece of shit...
Sorry. we will probably put out a snippet or something once trial happens, but we're not going to do a deep dive on this.
And we're not going to cover it. I'm sure we'll give trial updates as it's going on. We will share overviews or share whoever's giving recaps. Law and Crime is doing beautiful trial recaps for Diddy right now, for the Diddy trial. They're 45 minutes long. It's the next day. The reporter for it's beautiful. So if you're interested in that trial, also go to that.
To be a fly on that wall.
Yeah. We also will not be covering the Diddy trial because that's going to be so overdone. It's in every single outlet out there. But go follow that. Law and Crime is doing phenomenal.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So those are the ones we don't plan on touching. But that is where we're going to end our updates now because that's essentially our coverall for everything we said we were going to update you on. Obviously, we still have more that we got to update you on as things progress, as trial progresses, but we do have closure on a good amount of these, which were really nice. We will most likely be putting out videos on TikTok, YouTube, all of our socials for any of the other updates that we may have lingering. So please be sure to follow, like, subscribe, so you don't miss any of those.
I'm going to be shameless again in this. Please follow us on Instagram. We're up to 70 now.
Yay!
We were at 40-something last time we asked y'all, please.
We're up to 70?
We have 70!
Yay! Oh, I'm so proud of you.
Yeah. So, and maybe because we have apparently half of these updates are going to happen in July.
Oh my
Maybe
gosh.
in August or September we'll pop out another update episode that has all of those trial updates in it because apparently we're going to have a lot to put out then.
Jeez, why is everything happening in July?
I don't know.
Just stay tuned, y'all.
So, if you liked our episode today, please like, follow, subscribe. We're going to be back here every Tuesday, whether you liked it or not. So, we hope you join us. And this was way too much information for your brain, and that's okay.
It was a lot of information for our brain as well. We thought this was going to be a short episode.
We really did, and it's the longest one we're recording today.
Hell yeah, brother. But we needed to do it.
We did. So, and I'm glad we did.
Anyway, thanks for hanging out with us. We love you guys. We will catch you next week with another episode. We'll see you then. Okay. Love you. Bye.